Hey guys, welcome to the Editing Bard, the channel that brings you writing tips that make sense. Today is part 3 in our series of creating a writing process, and we're going to be talking about how to set clear goals and how it's going to help you write better. Alright, so we all know that goals are extremely useful. The problem is that most of the time we see these as things that we have to achieve at all cost. That is not the type of goal that I'm talking about today. The type of goal that I'm talking about today is simply one that you shoot for whether you hit it or not. We have to get out of this mindset of an all or nothing, because it is so hard to write and set goals and hit those goals. That's a lot, because you're coming up with all sorts of ideas and characters and worlds, and ain't nobody got time for that. Okay, so here's what you do. We're going to take a look at 50,000 words. Now, if you've done your homework and you've taken the time and gone through and found out how many words per hour that you write, this is going to be particularly useful to you. Let's say you have 50,000 words and you write at 1,000 words an hour. So your minimum writing goal should be 1,000. So we take the 50,000 words. Now we're gonna break it up into smaller chunks. It varies a little bit depending on how many days and all that kind of stuff. So to simplify it, we're gonna use 30 days. We're gonna use the NaNoWriMo model, right? For those of you who haven't done NaNoWriMo, that is National Novel Writing Month, and it takes place in the month of November, and it is a jump start to helping you write your first novel, at least the first draft. So we're going to use this as a basis for what we're talking about today. So 50,000 words, we know that during NaNoWriMo, you need to hit like 1,666, something right around there. So we know that that's the minimum that you have to hit each day in order to attain that goal of 50,000 by the end of 30 days. How does this help you if you write less than that? You now know how much time you need to block out. The key here is to think of it in chapter length. What you need to do is you need to look at how much you can write per hour, the minimum that you need to write, and you need to set a goal somewhere in the middle for your chapter length. This is for your first draft. This is to help you simply get words on paper. Now, I typically like to write and set goals between 1,700 and 2,500 words for my first draft. Setting it around this range does two things for you. First, it gives you something to shoot for. You know at 1,000 words an hour, you're going to need at least an hour and a half to 2 hours of time to write a single chapter. Now, don't feel bad if that's all you're getting done per day. Remember, you only have to get one chapter done per day. The second thing that it does is it gives you a spectrum on which to work. The reason why I enjoy that spectrum so much for the first draft is that it allows me to kind of structure each chapter with a beginning, a middle, and an end. When you structure it with a beginning, a middle, and an end, it makes it so much easier while you're writing, and as you get closer to that number, whether it's the minimum or the maximum, your brain automatically starts doing this shift where it's like, oh, we're getting close. How do we wrap this up? What's the turning point in this chapter that is going to take us to the end of the chapter? This is so unbelievably helpful. This is how I managed to pump out 50,000 words in 29 days. I didn't think I could ever write that much in a month. I don't think I would want to try and write that much in a month again. It was a lot of work, but allowing myself to write within this spectrum, because each chapter was unique, allowed me the ability, gave me the ability to do that. So when you're setting goals, you need to have a general idea of your ultimate total word count? Is it 20,000? Is it 50,000? Is it 80,000? Whatever it is, the longer your novel, the more time you should give yourself. Why? Because writing in a month 50,000 words is hard enough. Writing 80,000 words in a month is even more difficult. My recommendation would be is if you're going for something in the 80s, 90s, and upwards of 100,000 words, you want to stretch out that time over a period of maybe 3 to 4 months. Now, I know that sounds like a lot of time, but I promise you, scheduling out like that means a more attainable word goal per day, which is going to help you overall write your story. And I'm going to show you how to do that in a video where we use WriteTrack, which is a tool that people can use for NaNoWriMo. And I'm going to walk you through the process of setting that up. Let's check it out.
All right, so this is WriteTrack. This is a super helpful tool to make those big numbers look very, very small. Now, the link is going to be down in the show notes, so if you go looking for it, check down there. I'm going to walk you through a little bit very quickly on how to get it set up, kind of what it does and how it's going to help you. So first, we're just going to put in a test name. We're going to do a target of 50,000. And we're just going to say that our start date is today and our end date is September 9th. Now we have this awesome visual for our particular project. This top bar is your total target, which is 50,000 words. It has your expected progress, so how many words it expects you to have written per day. And then your actual progress is reflected in the bottom bar. 1,500 words is what your expected progress is. Now we're going to go down here and we'll see that it has words written, your target, and weight. And you notice how it's different from today to the next day. All right, and now it's going to change widely depending on how you use this. So let's say you already had 1,000 words typed up. So it puts it in, you've missed the mark, but notice how it's now changed on the right-hand side, the total amount that you need per day. You now have it at 1,581. That is your minimum. And it's changed it for every single day. It's recalculated it. Now, if you go to Sunday and you're like, you know what, I'm not going to get any writing done, and you know that ahead of time, you go and you click on it, you go to weight, and you change that to a 0. Weight is the expectation of how much writing you're going to get done. Are you going to hit 100% of your goal, or are you not going to hit any? So then you change it to 0. Notice how all of the rows have now gone up. Having a day where you're just like, you know what, I have all day, I'm just going to write. Put 200 for the weight. Now your expectation is 3,162 in terms of words. So now you have it that day, and all of the other days, again, have changed. This is super beneficial for when you're doing this kind of work, because it allows you to take those bigger numbers and see just how manageable it actually is. And this bounces off of what I talked about last week, where you have those times blocked out already, which makes doing this so much easier. I hope this was very helpful for you guys. It's going to help you move forward with writing your novel.
I hope you guys can see how attainable it is now to reach your goal within a 3 to 4 month period based on simply using daily writing goals. Taking that time to really dissect that bigger number and crunch it down to a smaller number that makes sense, that your brain can wrap itself around, and is much less intimidating. Thank you guys so much for watching the video today. If you can, please go down, hit subscribe, hit the little bell button so that way you get notified when these videos go up and when I go live. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Take care.